wellness presentation, Burn Guardian Scholars presentation, and then we'll close the event with a raffle. So for now, let's go ahead and start our panel. We're very excited to have Sherry, Milagro, and Edgar part of today's panel. They'll introduce themselves in a bit. They will be sharing a lot of information and a lot of their experience. And so if at any point you feel overwhelmed, that's completely valid. Feel free, to mute yourself, to turn off the camera for a bit, or to even just sort of step away if you need to, okay? If you need to step away for even longer, let us know, send us a message directly, either to one of the full-time staff members here, or even a peer advisor who's here. But we hope that you can get a lot from today's panel. So let's go ahead and get to it. We have, again, Sherry, Milagro, and Edgar. We're going to start with introductions, and then we'll start with the questions. So let's go ahead and start with Sherry, who is the first person on the slide. Is Sherry in the room?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Sherry. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, okay, I can't really see myself, but what do I say?
Your name, preferred pronouns, where you are now, a little bit, any background information that you'd like to share with the group.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Bradford. I currently am attending UCLA, which is one of my dream schools. So I'm super excited about that. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I guess one fun fact about me is I'm currently an education major, but I'm doing a bunch of internships that have to do with film. So I think that's very interesting.
Thank you, Sherry. Now we're going to go with Milagro, who's the next person in the slide. Milagro Jones.
Yeah, my name is Milagro Jones. My major is English. I'm an English major. The California Community College that I attended was Los Angeles Trade Technical College. I graduated winter 2021-2022, so I'm an incoming fall transfer at UCLA. I'm formerly homeless, formerly incarcerated. I'm a foundational Black American single father. I'm a proud first-generation college student. I'm a former foster youth, and I'm a proud California Community College transfer student.
Awesome. Thank you, Milagro. And last but not least, we have Edgar in the room. Edgar, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Edgar Monteroso. I am a third-year nursing student here at the UCLA School of Nursing while I am pursuing my bachelor's in nursing. I transferred here to UCLA last summer from Antelope Valley College in Lancaster. I identify as a first-generation high school graduate, first-generation college student, non-traditional student, formerly incarcerated, and a former foster youth. Just to clarify, I'm not a foster youth in a traditional sense. I've never been in a foster home, but I started getting in trouble with the law at the age of 14. So I became a ward of the court to the juvenile hall system. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give it up for our panelists for joining us. We appreciate your time and thank you for sharing space with us. This is a very brief panel, so we're gonna jump right into it. And hopefully we'll have a few minutes at the end for anyone from the audience to ask you any questions. So the first question is as follows: what do you regret not knowing as a student at your community college? What are some things you wish you knew? And I'm gonna go ahead and start with Sherry again. Sorry, Sherry, if I put you on blast or on the spot. And then you can go ahead and popcorn either Milagro or Edgar once you're done sharing your response.
Okay, so you did put me on blast. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't download the background, so disregard. You're gonna see like my apartment bed. But besides that point, I think I also have to mention I did go to 3 different community college to also get into UCLA. I think one of the major things I would advise everyone is get a planner, get a Google Calendar. Your time management is very crucial. I think when you get into UCLA or whatever school you want to go to, your dream school, time management is key. You need to make sure and check off all the things you need to do and the things that are like for future. So like, let's say fall quarter's coming up. Make sure you go through like your professor's syllabus, look over the dates, look over the books you need, all of that stuff, and put it somewhere. So every day when you wake up or whenever you're like on your way to like school or work or whatever, you know exactly what you're doing that day. So I think something I regret that I didn't do in community college is staying organized. Organization is key. When you know what you need to do every day, whenever things happen, like, you know, life happens, and you'll be fine because you're organized and you know like everything you need to do that day. So I think that's something I regret. And then also deadlines. Make sure you understand in college it's a hard deadline unless you're communicating with your, you know, professor. I'll pass it over to Edgar, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, here at UCLA, Brewing Guardian Scholars have been a huge support system for me, and I regret not knowing about the foster youth program at my community college. Like, I knew they were around, but I never took the time to learn more about them and how I could have benefited from them. And that was also the case for many other programs. So I wish I would have kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and went and looked into these programs and just got more involved in my community college. I think that would have helped me build a bigger network, a better community for my community college, which would have helped me transfer or transition into here at UCLA.
Thank you, Edgar. Milagro, is there anything that you'd like to add to Sherry or Edgar's responses?
Yeah, so my only regret as a community college student is that I was not able to complete my goal of creating more funding for community college students compared to the funding that they receive at other educational institutions here in California. So working with the former student trustee, Alfredo Gama, to hold Chancellor Francisco Rodriguez accountable when he was demanding a salary increase, but students were homeless and suffering from food insecurity. Working for the years that I was a student as a community college student, to just continually at every level. I mean, I was featured in the LA Times, MTV News. I was constantly advocating at the Board of Trustees meetings, but I wasn't able to see a change. I wasn't able to see an impact. I wasn't able to see that these students that are coming into the community college now after I left are going to be receiving more funding as they deserve. So just to give context to that, when I completed my degree, I was over $7,000 under my need, as estimated by the financial aid office. And even with my advocacy, even with me telling my personal stories and being very vulnerable, I was not able to meet that need. So my only regret is that we still have a system today. This is a public system. We look at the budgets from LACCD, and we still don't see the prioritization of the students receiving the funding that they currently need.
Thank you, Milagro, for sharing. And that actually, the responses that you provided transition us into the next question, which has to do with funding, right? And you also talked about advocacy and activism and there. And so, first and foremost, thank you for sharing about what some of the things that you wish you knew or regret not knowing or doing while you were in community college. But transitioning, this is a nice segue into funding. What funding opportunities are available for transfer students at UCLA, right? So you all went through the community college transfer route. You're now currently or have graduated from UCLA, in the moment at present. So what can you share in terms of funding opportunities or funding resources or financial resources available for foster youth or former foster youth transfer students at UCLA? And with this one, I'm gonna go ahead and start with Edgar.
Yeah, I mean, I know in my community college, I spoke to people, and their main concern was paying for higher education, right? But I think UCLA does a pretty good job of providing a good financial aid package through grants, scholarships, and loans. if it weren't for them, I know I couldn't afford to be here. But when I do need extra funding, I know I myself have turned to the Bruin Guardian Scholars. They've been really supportive in the form of scholarships, meal vouchers, and this coming fall, I'll be working with them as one of their interns. So they've helped me. When I need funding, I go to them. And I would just encourage everybody else to apply for scholarships because they have different organizations and departments here at UCLA, and they got money.
Yes, I just want to emphasize that, and this is something that Milagro also mentioned earlier in the previous question. You know, these institutions, you know, they have the funds. It's just that, you know, they are sort of in a gridlock. They want to place themselves in a gridlock and not really disperse these funds. So it's very important that, you know, that we are seeking these funding opportunities, and when, you know, as Milagro mentioned, and when you don't see them, it's important to advocate for them. Because it's not only going to benefit us individually, but it's going to have a greater impact, right? It's gonna benefit even a much larger community in addition to ourselves. I'm gonna go ahead and take it back to Sherry if you would like to add anything in you know, as it relates to funding opportunities for transfer students who are, you know, former foster youth, transfer students at UCLA.
So my favorite thing to talk about is money and scholarships. So since I've gone to UCLA, I have not taken out any loans. I have not taken out no loans. And I'm actually this is my last year, so I'm trying to do a single, I advocated for a single apartment, which is more money. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to pay it off. But one of the things I'm going to say is apply for scholarship. I put my email in the chat. There's so many scholarships for former foster youth, and they add up. So there's like the Biddy Manson Scholarship. If you're a part of United Friends of the Children, which is a nonprofit organization that helps former foster youth, they don't only offer financial services, they also offer mentorship. They offer workshops where you work on your resume. They help you create LinkedIn. I say, and I'm telling you guys, take down my email. I will get you guys set up, and then also apply for scholarships now. There's so many scholarships specifically for foster youth. There's also CASA LA. I got a $2,800 scholarship. Like, I just applied. I put my little foster youth story on then. Foster youth story, got letters of recommendations, but there's so many scholarships catered to former foster youth. And as he was saying, Guardian Scholars is going to be your best friend. At UCLA, there also is a program called the Career Accelerator program, where they also do give you an emergency scholarship. So a lot of like BGS at, like, for example, at our school, we do have an emergency scholarship that we have throughout the year just in case anything happens. United Friends of the Children also has that. So let's say you can't pay your rent for that month. You just contact United Friends, you're already in the program, tell them what's going on, tell them your situation, and they'll usually come up with something to help you during that month or for the next couple months. So one of the biggest things is open mouth, don't get fed. So use your mouth. There's so many different programs. There's also ISF, which is another program. They're located in Dallas, and they even got me booked to go to Dallas for a leadership cohort. They give you scholarships throughout the year. So as far as funding, you guys can definitely afford UCLA. If you guys want to take my email, have more of a talk about it, tell me exactly what you need and like your financial like plan, I would love to do that. But as far as funding, I'm just letting you guys know it is possible, it is necessary, and you guys belong here.
Thank you, Sherry. That was very insightful, very resourceful, and something that I want to remind our attendees for this webinar is when presenters are sharing their contact information in the chat or, you know, verbally or on the screen, please take down their information, note it down, because when we do share our contact info, it's because we really want to support, right? And I see that Sherry shared her contact info. You know, all of these individuals are very resourceful. So make sure that, you know, what we talked about earlier in the webinar, make sure that you're connecting, networking, working on building your web of contacts. And so thank you, Sherry, for all that insight. I'm going to go ahead and ask Milagro if there's anything else that you would like to add on, or something else that you'd like to share with the group regarding funding for transfer students.
Yeah, so when I was at a community college, I was not accepted into the Guardian Scholars Program. I was in foster care when I was a child because my mother had mental illnesses and she was institutionalized. And I moved around throughout my entire childhood, just constantly moving every couple months on Greyhound buses to different shelters, welfare motels, that type of stuff. But that doesn't come with documentation. So when you're at a community college, if you want to participate in this type of program, you have to have a piece of paper from an ombudsman, from someone. You can't just say, I was in foster care, even if you have, whatever type of even media or something reporting on it. If you don't have that piece of paper, you can't participate in the program. So I wasn't able to participate in the program. And going into UCLA, I didn't attempt to access that resource. I was attempting to use a completely separate program. And when that program could not help me, they referred me to the Bruin Guardian Scholars. Bruin Guardian Scholars paid for me to get my deposit on my university apartment. They paid my first month's rent. They reached out to a partner to pay for the costs of me moving, because then I had to move my things into the unit. Anything that I could ask for, Bruin Guardian Scholars at UCLA, either they have it or they know someone who has it. And so I'm thankful and I feel very privileged to have that, but it also makes me feel kind of angry because I want to see community college students have the same thing. UCLA is the only UC out of all 10 UCs that right now have guaranteed housing for all of their students. There's no other UC that has that. And there was a article published in the Daily Bruin recently that details how out of these 10 UCs, the UCs like UC Riverside that have the higher African American and Black and brown population, they're underfunded. There's no equity in the funding even of the UCs. The UC funding is unequal. So I think that we have to look at everything in context. I'm privileged. I'm getting funding while I attend this university, but there's other universities, even in the UC system, where they're experiencing great levels of homelessness and being underfunded. And then at the community college system, where they're being underfunded. So there's a disparity and there's an inequity. So while I appreciate the funding, I want to see the funding across the board for everyone. Chancellor Gene Block of UCLA in 2013, his salary was $465,000, I want to say, based on Transparent California. So he's making $500,000 a year to sit as chancellor. But when I speak to the students at UCLA, they can't identify anything he's done since becoming chancellor that has helped them, the ones that are struggling, in their struggles. So right now, I think whether I'm at UCLA, whether you're at a community college or you go to a different UC or even transfer somewhere out of California, to always look at the context and the big picture of why the funding is the way it is, and not just to look at your own situation. It's important to get funded for yourself. You have to survive. You have to manage as a student, but to look at the big picture and look where you fit in, because there's going to be others that come behind you. And then you're going to, if you have children one day or adopt or care about future generations, there are going to be ones that are not even born yet that are going to come up and inherit this system. So I think looking at the bigger picture of the funding situation is also important.
Thank you, Milagro. I don't know. I think Milagro needs to run for office one day. That was awesome. That was great. We're going to go ahead and move on with the next question just to keep track of time. But I just want to emphasize the importance, everything that Milagro was mentioning, right? And it goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning when we talked about critical race theory and community cultural wealth. Right. What Milagro was sharing that's literally why we use critical race theory and the work that we do to inform us about these disparities, inform us as to why there is lack of access for certain communities, and to inform us on best practices to combat them. And what Edgar and Sherry mentioned, it really ties back to community cultural wealth, right? The different identities, intersectionalities, and communities that we identify with, and how we use our community cultural wealth capitals to really make things happen, right? Being resourceful, asking questions, as Sherry mentioned, closed mouths don't get fed. I know it sounds like a very strong phrase, but it's something that you will hear time and again, right? It's speaking volumes as to making sure that you're asking questions, that you're inquiring, that there's always that 50-50 chance if you're asking about something, or if you ask about additional funding versus not asking at all, right? Because when we don't ask at all, when we don't inquire, when we don't advocate, we're telling ourselves no, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should be, asking these questions and letting them make that decision. So with that, we're going to go ahead and transition into the next question, which is very similar to the previous one, but this one is a little bit more general as to resources, not so much specific to funding. So could you share services and support programs you take advantage of at UCLA? For example, basic needs, meal vouchers, support programs or empowerment programs such as AAP, the Academic Advancement Program, or CPO, the Community Programs Office, as well as support offered through the Burn Resource Center, the BRC, and the Transfer Student Center. With this one, I'm going to go ahead and have Milagro lead us into this conversation, and then we'll popcorn to the rest of the panelists.
Yeah, so for me, I would never have even applied for UCLA. I knew I wanted to attend, but I would never have even applied for UCLA if it wasn't for this program. So, and I know this program is affiliated with, like you said, critical race theory, which I learned more about how Kimberly Crenshaw is the founder of critical race theory. I never see her name mentioned when people talk about critical race theory. They talk about political issues that have nothing to do with her. They don't even give her credit. And I feel like black women like her don't often get credit for their contributions, which I think people should speak out more about and give the credit where it's due, because she's the one who founded critical race theory. And without critical race theory in action, I would not be at UCLA. Critical race theory in action through programs like this is the only reason I even applied, because at my community college, when I would tell counselors, yeah, I want to go to UCLA or UC Riverside for creative writing, they would tell me, no, you need to focus on a Cal State. That's where you might be able to get in. If you're lucky, you're going to get into a Cal State. That's where the bar is for you. That's as high as it's going to go. So when I got accepted, they didn't believe me. It's like, oh, he didn't, it wasn't even something they could think of in their mind. So coming into UCLA, I would say AAP is the biggest thing for me going into transfer summer program. By me going into transfer summer program, and I stayed on top of my application, I followed up with Evan Sotelo, and I kept saying, I want to be in this program. I want to be in this program. The reason why that's important for me is because when I'm coming into UCLA, if I just waited to the fall to start my semester off, I'm not going to be prepared. By me going in through AAP and going in through the transfer summer program, I know I'm going to be prepared to be a part of UCLA. I've never felt imposter syndrome or I don't belong. I feel like public institutions belong to us. So I don't have that problem, but I had a problem of, am I really prepared? Do I have the resources that I need, the funds that I need? I don't accept, I won't accept things like most organizations when they want to give to people from my background. They try to give us expired food, the clothes that they don't want to wear anymore. They try to give you their garbage. What they would throw in the garbage can, instead of throwing it away, you take it. I don't accept that. I will tell organizations and programs, you have to give me and my daughter direct funding, because I know my value, I know my worth, I know me and my daughter's needs. And through direct funding, we can go out and get the things that we need. So with any program at UCLA or in the community or any type of funds and resources, I'm always telling people, I'm not ashamed to ask. Like she said, closed mouths don't get fed, but I'm asking for direct funding. I'm asking for the same thing that you would ask for yourself, the same thing that you would want for yourself. I don't want to eat out of your chip bag. I'm asking for my own chip bag so I can feed me and my family. So that's how I look at resources and funding. And I'll just pass it to Edgar.
It's kind of hard coming behind Milagro, man. But I definitely got to give props to CCP, Triple CP. I was here through their program 2018, 2019, and they helped me get familiarized with UCLA and actually see myself coming here, see other people like myself here, and they helped me push through my classes when I struggled at community college. Also BGS, they've been huge supporters. When I moved in, they helped provide my sheets, my detergent, hygiene, just whatever I needed. They hold events to help build community. They've helped pay for. They give me scholarships to help with tutoring. They paid for my textbooks. Like I said, they're going to provide a job for me this fall. Also, there's another program called the CPO office. They have a food closet where students can, anytime of the day, no questions asked, to show up, grab some food, grab some groceries for the week, and take them back. That's really helpful. AAP, I was part of the summer transfer program that helped prepare me for what UCLA had. Had I not been for them, I would not have been prepared the following fall. And so I'm really grateful for that. And then they also have the transfer center. The transfer center has been really cool. They got an area where you can go study, you can hang out with other transfers. They got snacks and food for you guys there as well. And then they have a building here that's dedicated just for the transfers. So it's Transfer LLC. Allows you to hang out with other like-minded individuals, other transfers. It's really about building community here at UCLA, because it's really hard when you don't have a community to rely on. So I mean, I found it really hard to fit in at first, but through the BGS and through the Bruin Underground Scholars that helps work with individuals who have been formerly incarcerated, I found my community, and that's been really helpful.
Thank you, Edgar. I just want to pinpoint something really important that Edgar mentioned. He listed multiple resources, and as well as Milagro, right? AAP, CPO, the Transfer Summer Program. And a lot of these resources are available to help you transition into UCLA once you're admitted. And, for example, that would be the Summer Transfer Program offered through the Academic Advancement Program. And there are some resources already available on campus once you're already here, and CPO is a big one, right? And CPO's food closet has been very famous on campus, even when I was an undergrad and previous years before I was an undergrad. And, something that they launched, I believe, earlier this year, if I'm correct, is the CPO carts. So now campus partners have these CPO carts in their buildings. So now we have a food cart here, a CPO food cart, even at AAP where our office is located. And so, slowly but surely things are expanding a little bit. But now I want to give Sherry an opportunity to share a little bit more on this topic. Sherry, go ahead.
So before I start off, I kind of want to take it a little bit on a tangent, and I want to go to, I think it's, I don't want to butcher his name, but he was talking about this concept of imposter syndrome. So he may not have struggled from imposter syndrome. I did the TSP program, and it was a really amazing program because the way they had it structured, it seemed like I was struggling through the summer. I was really struggling. And one of the concepts they kept bringing up was race and like different ethnicities and culture and things like this. And I kind of was irritated because I'm like, why are we talking about this? Can't we talk about something else? And it didn't really become prevalent until I stepped on campus. And, I identify as an African-American woman. Me being in the foster care system, I was raised by Mexican Americans. So identity crisis, I don't know if any of you guys have been through that, has been a huge part of my life. So throughout this time at UCLA, I think one of the biggest things is connecting to a lot of these resources, AAP, CPO, the TSP program. And even when I would go to UCLA for like tours, they had a people of color tour, and they were telling us all this stuff, this like bad stuff about UCLA. And I was kind of looking at them like, do you even want me to go here? Like, what's going on? I did the CCCP summer academy, and I remember one of the speakers came up and he took out a trash bag, and he said every foster youth individual know what a trash bag feels like. And I remember at 21, when I was kicked out from my foster family, which I spent 20 years with, I was carrying 6 big black trash bags, and that really resonated and I thought back to that moment that I felt like I was the scums of the earth. So I think one of the crucial parts of a support program is coming to an individual as a whole. So when you meet with me, I could tell you about all the different financial services these programs have. I could tell you about all the food, like security things such as CPO, they give food cards out. I could tell you about all these resources that they give you. but I'm also going to tell you about mental health. You know, us as foster youth individuals, we come from trauma and we have a lot of stuff that we have to break through, and a lot of times in college, that's where we're like breaking through a lot of stuff, because we're advocating a lot for ourselves, and it's really hard if you don't take a step back and think about, okay, what can I do today to make me happy? So one of the biggest things I want to talk about from the CCCP to the CPO office is I've created mentors in each of these programs that have helped me despite all the services. So I have people I could call when it's really hard and I'm like, hey, this is the 7th email I sent out to the financial aid and they haven't got it together. And I'm crying on the phone and I'm like, I can't do this no more. It's like I'm fighting every day. And I was in Journey House, where one of the big crucial things about the support program is they're not just there to give you money or to give you services. They're there when it's hard. And I want you guys to know at UCLA, first things first, this is not easy. There's a reason why they tell us, like he was saying, go to a Cal State. That's the best you're going to go through, because this school, it wasn't created for Black and brown people, but it is for us. It is for us. And you have to fight. So one thing I'm going to say is make sure when you do these support programs, yeah, use their services, do those things, but also create mentorships, because a lot of those individuals in those programs could help you beyond just the services. They can help you become better people and overcome adversity past whatever anybody will say, because I'm telling you right now, and somebody told me this right before I got into UCLA, is advocate. But advocating gets tiring sometimes. So you need to have individuals around you that are like, hey, come on, let's go. We're almost there. We're almost at the finish line. Because after UCLA, you're hitting life. And that's a whole other gamble of things. So one of the biggest things, and I'm going to tell you, if you do meet with me, I'm not just here to just give you support services or anything like that. I also want to check up on you. If you're homeless or if you're going through something, I'm going to give you those services, but I'm also going to be a mentor to you, because one of the crucial things about CCP and all of these programs, they have helped me not only become academically successful at UCLA, but they have helped me become an individual who has overcome so many different traumas and barriers. So that's one thing I want to say. So if you do suffer from imposter syndrome, or you do suffer from homelessness, or you do suffer from any of those titles and those stigmas people put on you, it is okay. Just know your girl over here did it too. So we all could do it, and we're going to all push through, and we're all here for you. All of us are here for you. So just know we ain't going nowhere. We're going to be here.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, everyone, for being, showing up very vulnerable and transparent and raw and with our students, because these are, genuine experiences and genuine, encounters. And as you can all see, right, our attendees, and I'm referring to our attendees, you can see that our 3 panelists have, there's a commonality among them, but there's also very unique experiences. And so something that I want to emphasize really quickly, that was highlighted a lot with this question is finding a support system or creating one, right? Because in spaces like these, as Sherry mentioned, these spaces were not built for people like us. And it can be very easy for us to get lost in our own thoughts, intrusive thoughts, or, emotions and feelings, maybe sadness, whatever these feelings and emotions are, which can then ultimately, as Sherry mentioned, can lead to a toll on our mental health, which ultimately impacts our academic performance, right? And so I just want to emphasize the importance of building community, finding community once you're here, because again, it's really hard to fall into that rabbit hole. And similar to most of them, just self-disclosure, I felt the same way, right, as a transfer student. And not just because I'm working for CCCP now, but CCCP was my support system. I did experience a lot of imposter syndrome when I came in as a non-traditional student. And so Chelly is in the room. She'll she knows that even when I wasn't on the clock as a peer advisor, I was here sitting outside. We still have a table outside the office with the chair, and I'll be here because this is where I felt secure, where I belonged, and where I felt supported. So I just want to emphasize that, it's very important to find that community. Otherwise, it can be easy to get lost, unfortunately, because again, as Sherry mentioned, these institutions were not built for people like us. All right. I'm looking at time. It's 2:06, so I want to allow for our audience to ask at least one or two questions. We have about 4 minutes. And so if you would like to ask our amazing panelists a question, please feel free to use the hand raise feature, and we'll call up on you. Again, this is a good opportunity for you to network, connect with folks. So any takers, any questions that we would like to ask our amazing panelists? And if I can have our staff help me in the chat too, keep track of any questions in there. Okay, Milagro says there was a question in the chat about family housing. Thank you, Milagro, for bringing that up. Would you like to address this question, Milagro?
Yeah, so I saw there was a question asking if UCLA have family housing. So like I said earlier, UCLA is the only UC that has guaranteed housing for all of the students. So this is something that that Chancellor Gene Block has been pushing for a couple years now. And with some new buildings that were some that are already open and some that are opening very soon, they have finally reached that goal. And so right now, the student family housing at UCLA is not on campus, it's off campus university apartments. So these are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. It's a community, it's not just housing, it's actually a community. So there's a lot of like community-based things and amenities here that I've never experienced. I just moved in on Saturday, like last Saturday. So I have never like lived in any type of area like this before. It's I feel safe. I feel like a weight is really lifted off my shoulders where I can actually focus on being a student. The reason why I actually accepted my UCLA offer instead of studying creative writing, which is what I really wanted to study at UC Riverside, is because at UC Riverside, the student family housing waiting list is over a year, according to the school, and according to students who attend, they report times over 2 years of waiting. So at UCLA, there is housing for not just students who have children, but also for students who are like married, like that are married and have a partner. They can also live in student family housing. So I think it's already been put into the link has already been put into the chat box. But if someone wants to come here and they are thinking about it, I would definitely say apply for student family housing, because I was unsure about it and I was thinking of just living in like something that I rented on my own off campus and not even inquiring about it. But I'm really glad that I did inquire about it.
Thank you, Milagro. Is there anything that Sherry or Edgar would like to share regarding housing?
I want to add that as part of BGS, you are guaranteed housing as long as you are a student here at UCLA, whether it's undergrad or graduate school, you're guaranteed housing the whole time you're here. Even during my my winter stay over, or even summer, we're giving discounted rates. So something to think about.
Thank you, Edgar. And Edgar mentioned BGS, and we actually have a presentation with BGS coming later today. So it's great that Edgar and the panelists are mentioning their office and how they have benefited from their support. Sherry, I see your hand raised. Sorry.
It's okay. I just also wanted to add, as far as like the summer thing too. They do offer like during like summer housing at a discounted rate. And I also want to say, like, I know some foster youth may not have like families to go home to for the holidays or whatever. So BGS usually helps with like covering those expenses. Like if you can't go home for Christmas or whatever, if you don't happen to have those, like they also help with those things. And I also want to say regarding housing, usually BGS has like a housing, hopefully she's the same in the next couple of years. Her name's Melissa Fybeck. So whenever you have housing concerns specific to your housing, so let's say you're in a situation, you have like a really bad roommate, or like wherever your housing is not great, emailing Melissa, tell her your situation, and usually she'll end up moving you to like a better housing situation. So also, I just want to let you guys know that just because you get placed in housing does not mean you have to stay there if it's a bad situation.
Thank you, Sheriff, for that reminder. I think most of us, especially when we're low income, first gen backgrounds, first in our families to go, we don't realize that we have these options, and we just automatically assume like I'm stuck living here with this person, or it's not, a healthy environment for me. So thank you, Sherry, for that reminder to our students. I want to ask if anyone from our audience has a question for them. We have about 3 more minutes. So we're given 3 more minutes. So we do have a question from Melody in the chat. Is there something that students can do to spread awareness about helping students access needs? If any of our panelists would like to lead that response.
Can you say that question again?
Yeah, so the question reads, is there something that students can do to spread awareness about helping students access needs?
Like needs towards like financial services, housing, mental health services, like exactly like what?
Melody, are you able to specify a little bit more in the chat, please? We just want to make sure that we're addressing your question. Melody mentions emergency services.
Okay, so one of the biggest things is I am really A1 for emergency services, because in my life a lot of stuff happens. So one of the biggest things I always say, despite the services that are given for school, and this is something I need to work on, and if you guys could start working on this now, it will help you in the future. But budgeting, I just say, if you guys are working or whatever you're doing, make sure to put money aside all the time. So every check you get, even if you put like $5 to $10, always put money aside just in case of a rainy day. But as far as emergency services, emergencies do come up. But I always think in my head, I like to be able to have different opportunities for like emergencies. So right now I'm probably in 6 different support programs where they're like a scholarship is like attached to it, but they also have emergency services. So if I'm in an emergency, for example, summer, let me give you a perfect example. Summer, I was like, I'm not taking any classes. I'm just going to focus on my mental health and get ready. It's my senior year. I'm trying to chill. I want to get experience. So I have internships. And I was like, okay, well, someone's going to have to cover my expenses. I could cover like a portion, but I'm going to need like help with that. So I currently am in BGS. So BGS actually used my emergency scholarship to cover my housing. However, I was like, okay, so when school starts, if I have to pay more in housing, like what am I going to do? I could apply for scholarships. So I also am part of United Friends of the Children, and they were also going to pay my summer housing situation, but I also have BGS. So I also say apply to different support programs, because sometimes something will come up and you'll need like services, but you can't just, use from one support program. So make sure you have an avenue of different support programs, different scholarships, different organizations, so you are set whenever stuff does happen. And there's so many things for former foster youth, especially if you're between the ages 18 through 21. One thing I could say I could regret when I was like at that age is not getting into any like transitional programs, because when you're in a program, usually there's so many different opportunities. Now that I'm getting older, the resources are getting a little dried out. I dried out because I'm getting older, but I'm just saying, if you're between those ages, definitely email me, because As far as funding for school, you will not need to worry about it, especially for your bachelor's.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Let's give it up for our panelists. We're going to go ahead and close the panel at this time to transition into our next session for the webinar. But let's show some love to our panelists, to Sherry, Edgar, Milagro. Thank them for their time, for their insight, for the resources, for all the tips and tricks and strategies. And please, again, as we mentioned before, make sure to stay connected with all of our presenters. Make sure that you're noting down their contact information and try to connect. Again, thank you again, Sherry, Milagro, and Edgar, for your time and for everything that you've shared today.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. So we are going to move on to our next presenter. He's going to be doing a guided meditation, but talking about wellness too. So it is my pleasure to introduce Almer Ornelas, Lcsw. So I'm going to read his bio because, he wrote one. So I don't want to, I don't want to let it go to waste. And he's in Hawaii, yo. So let me read his bio. So currently works for the County of Los Angeles Department of Mental Health as a training coordinator for the Workforce Development Division. For the last 5 years, he has developed trainings and programs for the mental health workforce. Previously, he has provided mental health and linkage services to transition age youth, so TAY, 16 to 25 years old, who are severely, persistently mentally ill and underrepresented. As a transfer student in 2007, he graduated from UCLA as a sociology major. So did I, with an education emphasis. As a community development and social justice CDSJ scholar, he was inspired to continue this education at the University of Southern California in 2000 School of Social Work, where he obtained his master's degree with the community organization planning and administration, so COPA emphasis. Almer continues to be passionate about social justice, advocating for Latino communities, and hopes to inspire other Latino males to pursue higher education, but also break the stigma of mental health. And he's Chelly's, 805 representative over here. Almer, take it away.
Thank you, everybody, for having me today. It is a great pleasure just being here. CCCP is really close to my heart. And when Frank asked me to do this, I told him I'm on vacation, man. I got to ask Ruby for permission first. So thank you for the time. Let me share. I did whip up a PowerPoint that I just kind of want to follow. And we can go ahead and begin. Let's see. Can you guys see that there?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So, excellent. So once again, I'm more in the casual vibe. I'm more in the ambiance of Hawaii. I'm on my wedding anniversary weekend, and we're just here kind of celebrating our marriage and stuff. And so normally I would be more professional, more in a professional attire, but because of the ambiance, I thought maybe it'd be more relaxed, more chill vibe. And that's what I kind of want to gain from this presentation with you guys is, I want to get engaging you, getting to know you a little bit better. We are going to be talking about mental health, stigma, overcoming barriers, and different topics. But at the end of the day, I want you guys to feel empowered, and I want you guys to feel motivated and send some sense of inspiration and hope. Because although you are going through some challenges, and you will go through some challenges coming to UCLA, I feel that you guys are already in great hands. I was overhearing the panel, and a lot of the stuff that they were already talking about, I feel that is in relation to what I'm going to discuss today. So, quick shout out, 805. I see you. Good to see you again. Santi, always the best, always supported me and always appreciate you. Alfred, say hello to him and everybody else. I may be missing some people, but I think you guys are already on a good note, good foot, because being part of the Center for Community College Partnerships, like you've already kind of heard the themes already, and I just tapped in briefly about how the sense of community, sense of support, mentorship, and having those resources and networking opportunities, I feel was probably the number one thing that allowed me to be successful. And I think Sherry was mentioning, not only academically, but also professionally and in life. A lot of the things that I've learned at UCLA, I was also able to incorporate when I got my master's in my profession and in life as an individual, as a man of color and of unrepresented. So I think that you guys being here is already a leg up. We always talk about equality, but it's equity too, right? Everybody starts from a different position in life in regards to how they're going to track and how they're going to be successful in life, whether it's academically, professionally, or in life. So I feel that this community that you're already involved in is very instrumental and will be instrumental, if it hasn't been yet, in the trajectory, in changing your trajectory of your academic goals, professional goals, and life goals. So I just want to give a special shout out to Center for Community College Partnerships, because I was too also a peer mentor back when I was in school there from 2008 to 2010. I transferred from Santa Barbara City College. So a little bit about me. Actually, before I even get into it even further about me, I wanted to guide us in a mindfulness exercise. So I want to go ahead and those who've never experienced mindfulness, or maybe you have, all it's going to do is go ahead and I'm going to ask you to turn your camera off just for this presentation. We're going to be guiding, doing a self-guided body scan. So the video itself will guide us through the exercise, but I want you guys to at least find a comfortable position and feel relaxed. Let me go ahead and fire this up for us. Can you guys see the body scan, or is it still my PowerPoint?
It's still your PowerPoint.
Still my PowerPoint? Okay, give me 1 second. I just gotta unshare. Here we go. Share, body scan, share. And then, so you guys can see the Calm app already?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so everybody get in a nice, comfortable position, and wherever's comfortable, go ahead and ground yourself, what we call put your 2 feet on your floor. Go ahead and put arms by your thighs or on your chair arms. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. And go ahead and close your eyes. Let's go ahead and everybody mute.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and start the body scan. So everybody go ahead and just get comfortable.
Welcome to this 3-minute guided body scan. Start by finding a comfortable position with a straight back and close.
Almer, we can't hear anymore.
And take a few deep breaths.
There we go.
Ground you in this moment. Feeling your breath as it enters your body and as it leaves your body. Follow the calming breath, the soothing breath, the breath that connects the mind and body. And now bring your attention to your head, feeling into your scalp, forehead, and face. Allow all the muscles in your head and face to soften. And lower your focus to the neck and shoulders, noticing any sensation here. Bringing awareness to your arms, all the way through to the wrists, palms, and fingers. Observing any sensation that arises on the surface of the skin or deeper within. Now scan your back, and if you notice any intensity, direct the breath into that area to allow for a softening. Feel into the belly, observing its rise and fall, rise and fall. And scan your pelvis and hips, moving your attention all the way into the legs and feet. Letting them relax and become soft. And now settle into the stillness that comes from paying attention to your body, part by part. And when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes. Come back to the room and open your eyes. Enjoy this relaxed, peaceful state and take it with you into your day.
All right, I wanted to go ahead and do that with you guys because the purpose of the presentation is also to not only talk about mindfulness and mental health, but also creating awareness within oneself. We often have to struggle at being someone of color, being someone of disadvantage, being able to not deal with a lot of our emotions. I think Sherry was talking about people, we all have our own trauma and we all have our own way on how we express and how we handle a lot of that trauma. But oftentimes we do go through college experiencing different triggers that maybe we have not thought about. And the reason I bring this exercise, I know because I wanted to set the tone and get you a sense of doing a full body scan on your own to realize and internalize so you can interpret the body signals that your body is telling you. And sometimes, I don't know about a lot of you, but I hold a lot of my stress either in my jaw or in my neck. And although I'm kind of going through the motions of what life has, the stressors has, or even when I was at UCLA has, I wouldn't recognize it until it was too late. So what I wanted to introduce this exercise because it's something as simple as 3 minutes of your day that you can do this in the library, in your dorm, in the car, wherever you're at. You can just stop 3 minutes, doing some inhaling, exhaling, and doing a body scan to recognize where that tension holds for you. And that is important because then you can identify where those pressure points are and you can start focusing them and relieving that anxiety, that stress, and working through the trauma, whatever is triggering you. This is just a basic exercise that you guys can do, anybody can do. And also I am going to drop a resource later on the Calm app LA County Department of Mental Health offers free guided meditation calm app services if you live in Los Angeles County. So I'll go ahead and send that over to, I think I'll send that over to Frank later on, and you guys can have it. It's free if you're a county, LA County resident. And you'll have a lot of these exercises that I'll be going through today for free at your disposal. And I'm sure UCLA also has a lot of that resources and information for you. And if it doesn't, you can always YouTube it. It's really simple nowadays that you can just go ahead and take that YouTube and do some mindfulness body scan. And then again, the intention about this is we're being intentional today about taking care of ourselves, taking care of our mental health, and also creating awareness, not only within ourselves, but within our community. You'll see kind of these reoccurring themes. Some of you I saw in the chat were saying you're getting kind of sleepy. That's good, because it's allowing you to express what you're feeling. Maybe what you're experiencing is you're exhausted. Maybe you need to take a break and maybe get some sleep, because again, I think it was Sherry, I want to say I give her props because she was preaching. She was talking the truth, facts. How you feel, how you think influences ultimately how you behave, and it can impede in your performance either academically, professionally, or in life. So always feel a way or find a way to release some of that stress, anxiety, whatever is causing those triggering traumatic experiences. Find a way, whether it's through mindfulness body scan. There's tons of resources out there that you guys can just go ahead and search. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and give you guys a little bit about me. So I guess I already talked a little bit about who I am. I used to work at CCCP. I transferred from Santa Barbara City College in 2007. I did TSP, Summer Transfer Program, for that summer. Then I went to did my sociology as a transfer student. I was there for 2.5 years, 3 years, trying to get all that done. I graduated with a sociology major and an emphasis in education. I was formerly undocumented, became a Mexican American citizen in 2002. I am the first generation college student in my family to go to college, even let alone get a master's and become a professional in the field that I work in. I did go to USC and got my master's in social work in 2012. And I got it in community organizing program management, which is no longer there at USC, but they have another program similar to that. But this is just to kind of show you that UCLA is great. I love UCLA. UCLA is my alma mater, and I always have to choose both. I always choose UCLA, but I want you guys to also think about one thing that was maybe not taught to me, but through the mentorship of CCCP and AAP and community development social justice. As a community development social justice scholar, I learned about, well, getting your bachelor's degree is great, but you should think about other opportunities and how you'll continue to grow and expand your educational knowledge and foundation. Again, we want to change the trajectory of where you're at and where you started, that equity, right? So we want to make sure that we are exposing ourselves while at UCLA under this mentorship at CCCP to get us right and get us on the path to success. Whatever that is for you, use the resources that you have at hand. I saw the panelist speech, man, you guys are wonderful. You guys are got great resources there, people that can relate. They know the system, they know where you can get the help. And I feel that that's going to be instrumental. And just being here, I got to say, speaks volumes. So again, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I work for LA County Department of Mental Health. I used to work for providing mental health services, as Frank mentioned in my bio, to TAY. And now I'm a training coordinator at LA County Department of Health, creating trainings and curriculums for mental health professionals to further on development of their professional skills and also continuing education and like post-licensure education. So that's just a little bit about myself. If you have any questions about those career paths. You guys can always ask me at the end. We're going to have a lot of questions and answers at the end. And one thing you'll see on my PowerPoint, which is I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Can I get some emoji claps if you're a Kobe fan? Or at least a basketball fan. Excellent. So, and that's why I go to this slide. I want you guys to think about role models and inspirations. And you got some great panelists that were here today that you can utilize. You got the staff at CCCP that you can go ahead and utilize as role models and inspiration. But one person that maybe has always kind of helped me become a better person, whether it's in academia or it was in my profession or in life, was Kobe Bryant. And oftentimes we feel that, maybe in foster youth or being a foster youth or transitioning youth is we don't have those positive role models. So I didn't have a lot of positive role models in my life. My father wasn't in the picture. I was raised by a single parent mom, luckily. And maybe some of you have, and maybe some of you haven't, but it hasn't been maybe a positive experience for you. And so what I had to do is seek other role models in my life, whether it was in the media, sports. I'm a big sports guy. I love basketball and I love football. So I always sought out a lot of these athletes that role model certain things that I would take from. And what I always say is, you pick here, you pick there, you pick there, you pick there. Whatever those traits are, you pick a little bit of everybody and you create your own identity, your own sense of self. You create your own role model or inspirational tools that you can use and apply to your academics, to your profession, and to your life. So I want to go ahead and ask the question, and it could be anybody. This is just an example for me, but I want to go ahead and it could be definitely very hard, But I want to ask the question to our members here today, our participants today. Who are some role models that you have? And go ahead and drop it in the chat. Or you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to. And go ahead and let me know who are some individuals that maybe you kind of aspire to be like or a role model like that helps you be a better person.
Oh, one that I have is Bugs Bunny.
Okay. Bugs Bunny, tell me a little bit why.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Okay, your mom. Excellent. All right, yeah, my mom's a big inspiration to myself as well. Anybody else got any other role models? Anybody they look up to and try to model themselves after? Yes, my mom, yes. A music professor, excellent, yes. Anybody else?
Yes, the Pierce College staff, the Guardian Scholars. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So it sounds like a few of you guys have a few people that you guys can relate to or can at least lean on to kind of help guide you through your own journey, your own creation of oneself. And that's my whole point to this again, is although maybe you don't have positive role models or positive individuals directly in your life. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you don't, there are other avenues like you guys are sharing now. You got people at school, you got the mentors, the scholars, you got, positive athlete role models. For me was Kobe. And the reason I always use this term is at the end of the day, whatever or whoever you turn to make you a better person, then do it. We are, and I quote Kobe, is we are on a constant quest to be the best version of oneself. Ultimately, we are always going to be growing and always going to be developing. It's part of the maturation process through the life stages of life. So I want you guys to recognize that, yes, and why is this important to mental health? Because self-exploration, self-awareness will help us alleviate some of the trauma. It will help us change our thinking, which will eventually change how we feel, which will eventually change how we act. You see the cycle? So one thing that I do want to talk to you is about, and this is an often struggle that I encounter working with youth, myself working with my community, and that is stigma. Does anybody understand when I say stigma? Go ahead and drop it in the chat or unmute yourself. Let me know, what are some things when you hear the term mental health? What do you first think? Go ahead and drop it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. You can go ahead and unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. Yeah, I was waiting for that one. Thank you. Yep. 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 Excellent. These are all great. Yep. So you got crazy, lost, meditation, no such thing. Yep. It's taboo. Yep. So half the battle, I feel, in a lot of people of color communities and just in society in general, have this misconception or perception that's incorrect, that if you're mentally ill or there's something wrong with you, you're crazy. Oh, you're not normal. Such as the things that you guys are lost, you're and stuff, like it's taboo. Like, I feel that majority of the struggle, majority of the time when I was working with youth, and also when I was, changing myself, is getting rid of these underlying stigma ideas and concepts, because I almost feel like that's half the battle. That is half the battle in terms of you seeking help when you need it versus not even seeking help at all. And then you get what we call it an episode. You get a breakdown. So it's important to change the frame of how we perceive mental health. I want to say, as opposed to, oh, if you're mentally, that's a weakness. That's, you're weak. No. I think if we change the perspective, if we change how we view it, it's, I am different, but it's okay. I am stronger for it, and I accept the help. Oftentimes when I was working in the field, people would decline services, whether it was housing, mental health treatment, general relief, any financial Medicaid services, because it was tied to and it was associated with the term mental health. So I want to challenge you and everybody here today to start thinking or shifting that mindset of we want to make sure that we are changing that thought. And we want to create what we say is awareness. Awareness not only within ourselves, but also awareness within the community that you're around. So we want to make sure that this is why we did the body scan earlier. We want to recognize our own body and mind telling us that something is up. We want to recognize our body cues, and we want to make sure that we are respecting our body and respecting ourselves. Not only that, we have to change that mind frame that from I'm crazy and I shouldn't get help because of what people will think about me to I should get help because I care about myself and I care about my family and what is I'm doing here at this university or in life. It's bigger than this misperception. It's about you changing that trajectory, changing those life paths so you can be successful. And half the battle is going to be to fight that stigma. We have to change our perception about what mental health is defined by society and media. If you change that perception, it will change your world and you will become better for it if you accept the help. And it comes from the inner bonding and awareness of self-identification and then seeking the help when it's available or when you can get it. So therefore, it can empower you to be that better person. Again, we want to change that trajectory and we want to make sure we are making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, taking care of our families, and taking care of whoever you're responsible of. And this is why I say about community. Community, if we do that within ourselves, we change the awareness and we start changing and we're empowering individuals, whether it's friends, colleagues, family members, sisters, brothers, we can start beginning to change the community around us, these misconceptions of what mental health is. We start with ourselves, and then we go through the meso stages and macro stages of empowerment, self-care, awareness, and breaking down the stigma barriers. If we can start doing that here, you guys will be better for it. And we'll begin to transform not only ourselves and be better prepared for what life has to bring. Because being at UCLA, being at any four-year institution, whether also in the Cal State system, anxiety, stress, trauma, family pressures, life pressures are always going to exist. So we have to transform our thinking, our relationships, our community, take better care of ourselves and them and teach them how to search what we like to call searching for peace. Protect your peace, y'all, because you are important, you are valuable, you deserve to be here. And although you didn't start where everybody starts or where everybody thinks they should start, the fact that you're still here talks volumes about your value, your worth, your strength, your resiliency. I applaud you. I applaud you. You are stronger than what you think you are. And it's just about changing that mindset. If we can go ahead and do that, I feel that you guys will be better for it. I think you guys have some great mentorship already here. And before I move on to close out because I see Frank said I got 4 minutes, but I want you to think about it this way. And I'm a big Eric Thomas fan. If you never heard about Eric Thomas, Google Eric Thomas, motivational speaker, Secret to Success, phenomenal. That's what got me through UCLA. It was just one of those inspirational things that I had to utilize. Again, we're pulling from different sources of media, whether it's positive media, family members, and mentors to kind of help guide you and motivate you and change your perspective. But he said this, he said, to be at any moment, sacrifice what you are for what you can become. Powerful. Listen again. To be at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you can become. And what I mean by that, again, changing your thinking will change how you feel, will change how you act, and it's a cycle. Let's break down the stigma barriers. Let's start empowering ourselves. Let's take better care of ourselves, creating that awareness through body scan, talking it through mental health therapists, colleagues, friends, mentors, to be the best version of yourself because you are on that quest. And again, we're changing that trajectory of how we're accomplishing that and how we're going to obtain that. So do we have one more time for another guided meditation, or am I up, Frank?
Yeah, we
Uh,
are at a time just because we want to be mindful of our other speakers here already.
Okay, no problem. We'll skip the mindfulness, but I will leave it up to questions and conclude with this one slide if you give me at least 2 minutes.
Okay.
I had a quick question. Could I? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. For the COMAP, there's a charge for it, isn't it? Or is it just is it covered by, I guess, UCLA? Is that how that works? So were you just displaying that, talking about the COMAP?
Oh, the comment. So
Yes.
Through the LA County Department of Mental Health,
Yes.
if you are a LA County resident,
Okay.
it's free for you. And I'll go ahead and drop it in the chat after I'm done and transition. And I have the website through the LA County Department of Mental Health. You'll go in there. You'll need to verify your information,
Okay.
like your address and stuff, to show that you are a resident, but it's free.
Oh, cool.
It's free, yeah. And again, it has all the mindfulness exercise. I just did one today, but it has all of them there. And you guys have free access if you're a resident. Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions? Go ahead and unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. All right.
All right, yeah. So thank you very much, Almer. We greatly appreciate you taking your time, especially when you're on vacation. Say hi to Ruby for us. We do appreciate this. Something? Do you want to say something? I see that you turn on your camera.
I just want to say ta-da!
Ta-da!
Whenever Elmer will come by my office, he will announce himself by just going ta-da! And I'll be like, okay. And I just loved it. I loved it. And I love you, man. And enjoy your anniversary.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Hit me up when you come back so we can get that carne asada you've been promising for so long.
I got you, brother. I got you.
All right.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for a great time. And thank you, Frank. And thank you, Santi. Hello, Chelly and Alfred, for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it. Always giving back. Hope everybody's well. And again, let's change our mindset and let's get better, y'all. Take care.
Thank you very
You
much.
too.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to hand it off to Iridia, and she will be introducing our next presenter.
Okay, and moving on to our next presenter, we have Jennifer Padilla. Jennifer is the program coordinator at the UCLA Growing Guardian Scholars Program. And in her role, she works with the undergraduate and graduate students at UCLA that have interacted with the child welfare system, helping scholars navigate resources, building community, and advocate for change. Jennifer earned her bachelor's degree in sociology from UCLA, and some fun facts about Jennifer is that she loves animals and learning new skills such as stalling, sewing, and dancing. So if you are good to go, Jennifer, the floor is all yours.
Awesome, thank you. Can I actually get share screen privileges, please?
Yes, Charlie, can you make her co-host, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? I'm not sure how long you all have been here on Zoom, but I hope you have a little bit more, can pull through a little bit more for another presentation. As mentioned, I am coordinator for Guardian Scholars, and we have a lot of great resources that we have for students that qualify. So I will go over like eligibility and kind of next steps. So if you want to connect, you want to apply, you can go to our website, and you can also reach out to me directly if you have any questions. Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to share screen. Awesome. And feel free to ask questions in the chat. I probably won't answer them until the very end because it's a little bit hard for me to see the chat with the presentation that is up. Awesome. So welcome and congratulations to all of our incoming transfers. We're super, super proud of you for all the hard work that you've put in, and we hope that you find a lot of great resources and supports on campus to help you finish your academic journey, whatever that may mean to you. So on our team, we actually have 3 pro staff. Our director is Tiara Nelson, who is here in the middle, and she started with us recently this year, and she's super awesome. And then we have Miss Brianna Harvey, who used to be the former director, but is now the assistant director of the entire Bruin Resource Center. In her role, she still oversees our program. So if you see any of our names, just know that we are a part of the Guardian Scholars. On our team, we also have interns who are continuing students who identify as BGS themselves. We have Alex and Raisa. Awesome. So as mentioned, before I dive deep into who BGS is, we are a part of a larger resource center on campus. So some of the programs under the resource center, aside from BGS or Bruin Guardian Scholars, are the following. So we have collegiate recovery program for students who are in recovery or have had family in recovery and are affected and just need a community of students. They're a super awesome program. We have the Transfer Student Center, which I'm sure a lot of you are already connected with. If you're not, highly recommend. We have Underground Scholars, who are for students that are system impacted or have had family that have been incarcerated, or they themselves have been incarcerated. We have Students with Dependents. So for students that have children or maybe care for siblings, in our program, we do have some students that take in their siblings while they're in college. So you would qualify for this program, or maybe you're taking care of a parent. Lots of great resources, scholarships, and supports there. First to Go if you identify as a first gen, and then we also have the Undocumented Student Program. So these are all of their Instagram @ handles if you want to go ahead and screenshot or follow any of them to learn more. We're located in the Student Activity Center in the same building as CCCP. So we're in that same plaza where the Bruin Bear is, the LGBT Center, and Ackerman. So if you ever want to stop by, say hi, get more info, you're more than welcome to. All right, so I keep saying BGS, and that's basically an acronym for Bruin Guardian Scholars. We tend to use the term youth that have been in foster care. We're trying to transition into using those that have been impacted by the child welfare system. And what we basically mean by this is anybody that has been in out-of-home placement that hasn't been with their biological parents. So if you were raised by an auntie, a grandma, you've been in any guardianship, you've been adopted, you've experienced juvenile probation, or maybe you're an unaccompanied minor and are identified as independent while you were a minor. This would actually qualify you to be a part of the program. We don't have like an age limit, like you had to have been in care by the time you were 16 and 18. As long as you engage with the child welfare system at any point in your life, even if it was for like 2 days, we would still consider you eligible for our program. So if you identify, yeah, go ahead and reach out to us and see how you can start getting started with services. And then for Guardian Scholars, we do serve at the undergrad and graduate level, which we were able to start a few years ago, and we're very fortunate to be able to do that. So if at any point you're considering continuing for grad school and you want to come to UCLA for grad school, just know that this is something that you can continue accessing in your educational journey. Most recently, under our program, we also house the Mckinney-Vento Initiative. And basically, this is for students that have experienced houselessness. We only serve at the undergraduate level for MKV or McKinney-Vento students. We do have some Guardian Scholars that have also experienced houselessness and identify as both. We have a lot of students who identify as one or the other, though. For MKV students, the way we identify eligibility, we actually get that list through financial aid. So usually we outreach to students that have been provided and verified by financial aid. Whereas Guardian Scholars is kind of a self-verification process and meeting with us to see if you're eligible. If you identify as MKV, just let us know as well so we can be aware of your identities. But yeah, I mean, you will receive the same exact services as Guardian Scholars, MKV. It's the same exact resources for both. In order to apply, you would just submit a virtual application and submit a letter of verification. If you're an MKV student that we already have on our list, you don't have to provide a letter of verification since that's been verified by financial aid. But if you're a self-identified MKV student and you're not yet on like financial aid's radar, then we do ask that you submit a letter of verification. If you have been in a shelter and had a caseworker, maybe having them write a letter. For BGS, maybe like a court order, adoption papers, anything to kind of verify your status. And if you need help getting that paperwork, we can assist as well. So that's who we are, who we serve, and kind of how to get enrolled in the program. So in terms of benefits, we have been a program since 2009. And so we've been around quite a long time, a good 10 plus years. And in that time, we've been able to add a lot of amazing resources from housing and scholarships, academic supports. And I'm going to go through some of them really briefly, just because it's an overwhelming amount of information. But just to get an idea of what we offer. And this is all thanks to like students who started the program in the first place and who continue the advocacy work to be able to add a lot of these resources. So I've separated them in 4 categories that we try to keep in mind when it comes to serving our students. The first is community and wellness. So we do have our interns who are at the forefront of planning these amazing workshops, receptions, outings. We do everything from like tax workshops to even doing outings to Halloween horror nights. So we try to make sure that you all feel you have a great community at BGS, and you'll make a lot of great friends. I was a part of BGS and I've made amazing friends there that I still keep in touch with. So a lot of great community building support, but we also take into account the mental health and wellness aspect that I was able to catch a little bit of that you all were previously talking about. So with BGS, we do have a partnership with CAPS. I'm not sure if you all were able to have a presentation from CAPS, but that's basically the counseling center on campus. And because we have a partnership with CAPS, our students have a liaison that they can reach out to and do an intake, and you don't have to be waitlisted to be able to start accessing CAPS. If you have a copay, if you even if you have UC-ship or don't have UC-ship, if you do have a copay, we help cover that through this support that we have. So that's one great service. CAPS is amazing in itself. They offer individual therapy, group therapy, and any other community resources that you may be interested. We also have program Masters of Social Work interns, or MSW interns, and they will typically be the one who does your intake, but they're also like a point person for you to access at any point in the year. Let's say you're like moving apartments and need supports in finding housing, or need support finding wellness resources or anything like that. Your MSW is basically like your counselor. They can help, you know, check in. Even if there's nothing that you need, you can just check in with them, update them on the quarter, let them know how it's going. And yeah, so they're super awesome. Next is academics. Of course, we want to support this identity of yours because you're here at UCLA for academia. One of the most important resources that we can offer our students is access to priority registration. So you can get up to 9 units of priority registration, and this can equate to up to like 2, maybe 3 classes, depending on the units that the classes are. But this is pretty much a big deal, especially if you're doing like a series, right? Like you need to do Chem 1A, 1B, like it's a series that you need to stay on top of. If you're able to have that priority registration and register on time and not have to fight with like the 100+ students trying to get in the class, this really keeps you on track and makes sure that you have a good schedule for the quarter. So the only catch is that this does not start your first quarter. So this does not start fall quarter, it kicks in winter quarter. And then from then on, it stays with you up until you graduate. So priority registration is like a super plus, it's amazing. I believe it's like athletes who get priority first, and then it's like BGS students. And then it starts going into like the first pass, second pass, etc. Tutor Me LA, we partner with this off-campus organization called Tutor Me LA. And we can offer students up to 10 hours of individual therapy that's fully covered. It's free of cost to you for anything that you may need in the quarter. We know that 10 hours is not the most, but we also try to consider that there are a lot of on-campus resources that you can utilize. And this is just an additional thing we like to offer, especially for maybe harder courses that you're taking, or you just need a little bit of support. The way it works is you just let us know what class you need tutoring for. They know that you'll be a BGS student if we reach out to them, and then they'll partner you with a tutor and someone that you can work with for that quarter and for that class. Lastly, AAP, Academic Advancement Program, another great program that I hope you all had the opportunity to learn about. So basically, when you're here at UCLA or any campus, there is a counseling academic unit that basically oversees how you're doing. And here, I believe we have quite a few academic counseling units. So if you're in School of Engineering, they have their own like academic counseling unit. And different departments may have their own. AAP is one academic counseling unit that serves a specific group of students on campus. Not everyone is eligible, and not everyone gets into AAP. Fortunately for BGS students, if you are a part of our program and they know that you're a part of our program, you're automatically able to access AAP instead of being put into CAC, which is the Counseling Academic Center. And that's basically the center that serves the rest of the population on campus. So it's great to be a part of AAP because it's a smaller academic center. All you have to do is complete their orientation. So although you're eligible and you can access them, you still have to do their orientation. You can't do anything with them if you don't complete your orientation. So we advise that you just get that out of the way as soon as possible, and that way they're accessible at any point that you may need them. AAP is great for doing petitions, talking to a counselor to see if you're on track, especially as a transfer. Maybe you want to check if all of your units have transferred, all of your classes, lined up with what you want to major in. So it's a great counseling unit to have. So academics, we try to support as much as possible. Housing. So we know housing is a super big thing just in LA in general. Under our program, we do guarantee year-round access to housing. So by this, we mean maybe you're a student who decides to live off campus for whatever reason. You just don't want to live on campus. But maybe let's say by winter quarter, you know, the housing isn't working out, or maybe the place you're living in isn't as stable, or you don't feel safe and you want to move on campus mid-year. Being a part of BGS guarantees that housing will accommodate you and find you housing. And we usually work with you and you let us know when this happens. But basically, you're guaranteed to be housed, even as a transfer student, your entire time here at UCLA. This does not mean, though, that it's covered. For some reason, students seem to think that guaranteed access to housing also means it's paid. It is not, although we can assist with some financial supports, which I'll cover next. Reduced summer housing. So we know sometimes students want to stay on campus because they're working, they're taking classes, or they just want to stay in the area, don't have too many plans to travel, want to save money. We do offer BGS students a separate summer housing contract, and we work with housing to create this contract for our students. So this basically means that you will pay at least half the cost of what it is to stay on campus. If you're in the apartments, we might be able to extend that lease. There are some like stipulations. But if you're on campus, that would include the meal plan. So I think this summer, our students are paying maybe an average of like $1,400, and that's for 3 months. So it's a pretty good deal, right? It can be less. Some students are paying less because they've decided to be in a triple. Some students are paying slightly more because they want accommodations or to be in a single. So it's more or less, but average, it has been $1,400 for the past couple of years. So that's a great benefit. And lastly, in terms of housing, we also cover winter stay through. So after fall quarter, during that holiday break, students are required to leave campus, but there have been exceptions made for BGS students, MKV students, as well as international students, I believe. And in this, our students actually receive a scholarship. You won't get it directly, but we work with housing to actually cover that stay through, because otherwise it would have to be an out-of-pocket expense. So we ensure that you have somewhere to stay during the break. If you don't have plans to travel, or if you feel like there's nowhere else for you to kind of stay during that break, you have that. We do encourage students to still sign up, even if they have plans to travel, because there have been sometimes incidents where students, make plans to travel, but then it doesn't work out. They cancel the trip and then they have nowhere to go. So it's good to have it as a backup plan, and it's covered. And then, yes, so for any housing resources, you can connect with us or connect with your MSW with BGS. And then lastly, financial supports. This is something that is super helpful. I know it was super helpful for me as an undergraduate here at UCLA. So the first resources is we have an emergency fund that we offer every single student in BGS. So every single BGS student has access to up to $3,000 in the school year if they need it. So if there's like medical expenses, you need to buy a new computer because your last one broke, etc., anything that you may need to use your funds for, you would basically go on our website, fill out the application. You would most likely, as a new student, have to meet with a director so she can get to know you, get to know your situation. You let us know how much you're requesting and what it's for, and then we work with financial aid to award you that scholarship. So there are kind of some things here and there to keep in mind, but I won't go into too much detail because that's its own separate thing. But if at any point you do apply for an emergency scholarship, want more information, you can just connect with me. Textbook voucher. So we also offer textbook assistance, like to purchase books. We give each student $300 in the school year to use towards textbooks. So at the beginning of every quarter, our interns, Alex and Raisa, and whoever else we have on the team, will organize dates and times during week 0, week 1, and week 2 to go with students to the bookstore. They'll walk you over, you grab your books, and then they'll help you at the front register and purchase the books for you. So you have $300 to use however you please. Let's say you don't use it in fall quarter, you don't use it in winter quarter, but you do need it in spring. You still have access to the full 300. So you can break it up however you need within the year. With that said, it doesn't roll over. So if you don't use the 300 in that academic year, it doesn't roll over to the next academic year. It kind of just resets back to 300. But that's super helpful to have that cushion. And then lastly, we also help with any professional development funding, and this comes out from a separate scholarship. This doesn't pull from your emergency funding. So let's say you want to take the LSAT, the MCAT. Let's say you have a registration fee for something, or there's a conference that you really, really want to attend, but you have to buy the flight and the fee. You can actually reach out to us, and anything that will help you and your professionalism, we will advocate and help pay for those things. We have helped quite a lot of students, buy flights or get pay for their conference fees, pay for any books or courses to study for the LSAT. So that is something that we can help as well. So a lot of resources. How am I on time? Okay, cool. I'll speed this up. Let's see. Requirements. So again, this is a program started by students for students. We don't ask of too much of you. We understand that you're students, you may be working, you may be parents, you have other sorry, my dog is waking up. You have other commitments. Our first requirement is that you participate and engage with the program. Aside from doing your application and verification, we want you to participate, and we ask that you attend at least 2 events per quarter. And we have a lot of amazing events, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, whether you volunteer to panel or set up for an event. There's like a lot of opportunities to really satisfy that 2 minimum requirement. And just because we say 2 doesn't mean you can attend all of them. We highly encourage for you to attend as many as you can. The second thing is to do quarterly check-ins. So whether that's with myself, that's with Tiara, or your MSW, we want you to check in and just let us know how it's going. I know that Tiara has like 20-minute, 15-minute appointments. If you kind of just have nothing really to check in about, but you want to complete your check-in, you can just book her for 15 minutes, check in, let her know how the quarter is going, and then that counts. Or maybe you do have something that you want to cover and go through before the next quarter. So participation, checking in. The third thing is to maintain a GPA of 2.0 or higher. This is kind of just a UCLA thing, and we want to kind of emphasize that. And the fourth thing is just to have, appropriate behavior on campus, please. And the reason being is because if you're a part of BGS, if someone across campus, let's say in housing or in CCCP, they know you're a BGS student because we're connected to these departments. They will usually come tell us if there has been like inappropriate behavior or if there are concerns. So we do highly encourage our students to keep in mind that you're representing us and that we will most likely hear about anything that is inappropriate. Awesome. I am almost done. So if you feel like you identify with this program, you want to know what comes next, we do encourage you to do the application. You can find it on our website. I can put links right after the presentation when I go over the chat. So do your application, email us your verification. You can join our Remind text messaging system. You would just text new BGS 2022 to that number. You don't have to download anything. It'll just automatically remind you into the system. And basically what this is like I can send a blast text to the students. And we try not to blow up your phone, but we send texts for really important things like, hey, we just got a scholarship. We're looking for students that meets this requirement. Please let us know if you're interested. hey, priority enrollment is about to close. Please make sure that you're enrolled in your classes. So we try to use texting to keep you all on top of things to keep in mind and really important stuff. Everything else is through email. Fourth, complete your AAP orientation. Fifth, keep reviewing your financial aid award letter. I know that they tend to like review and send new ones, so kind of stay on top of that. And then the last one is to schedule a meeting with campus partners. If there's any resources that you heard of before this presentation, anything that I mentioned, or anything that you hear of even after the fact, honestly, just set up a meeting with that counselor and start building that relationship, because it really is to your benefit. Okay, and then last, I'm going to end on some events that we're doing. On the week of move-in, September 13th through the 17th, we're actually having our, I want to say, 5th move-in event. So during that week, for our students, we basically have a big room on the hill. We have a lot of amazing, generous donors and organizations that give us like bed sheets, and they give us hangers and toiletries and laundry detergent, everything that you could need for like your dorm or your apartment. Our students come and then grab whatever they want and take it back to their dorm or apartment. And it's kind of our way of helping our students move in, as we know that move-in experiences are different for everyone. I know my move-in experience was not the best, but this is our way of helping our students feel welcomed and feel like they have what they need starting off school. And yeah, we do have hiring opportunities, but I'll say that if you're interested. And yeah, so thank you, everyone. I did list Tiara's booking page, who is our program director, as well as her email. And then this is my email as well if you want to connect. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, hello. Oh, sorry, I had a quick question. That last bit sounded very helpful. Is that just for the Bruin scholars, that information you just gave?
Yeah, it's for students that would qualify for Guardian Scholars. I can put the website.
Oh, okay, because I'm in the Pierce College Guardian Scholars. So do I qualify? Just curious.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, so just let us know, send me an email, and then I can send you some of the information that I covered today.
Okay.
I'm glad you took advantage of that program at your CC.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's just because I just moved in today, or 2 days ago, so I need everything.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, send us an email.
Yes.
We have some supplies in the office that we can hook you up with. So just send me an email, okay?
Okay. Yeah, say hi again, Brian.
Awesome. Other questions? I'm trying to look at the chat. Emails in the chat. Yeah, of course. So Tiara.
Yes, if you have any questions, y'all, please put them in the chat or feel free to use the mic. Oh, I think Santi has a question.
I have a request, Jennifer. Do you think you can have a copy of the presentation that you had, and we can put it in the website so that it's because there was a lot that was covered. So amazing that it's all in one place. So it's like a little mini guide of like all things UCLA. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, I can share that, and then I'll also put a link to our website, and has a lot of that information as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Jennifer. This was very informative, and thank you so much for being here and just sharing all of the great resources that BGS has to offer. I see Jennifer putting all of her contact information in the chat, so please take advantage of that, y'all. I know everyone here is really here to support you and is always rooting for you, so just take advantage of that. I'm not sure if we want to move along, but again, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. I don't know if you maybe want to stick around just in case some folks have like any questions in the chat. But I think we're also moving on to the next part of the webinar, which is the closing and more raffles. But again, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, we're gonna head into the raffle. All right, let me get to the wheel of names. I've been double checking and triple checking that we have all of the names on the wheel. All right, are we all excited? Okay, cool. So we're gonna do 2 raffle winners, and Frank is going to be recording the names. Thank you. All right. All right, Jacqueline, are you here? Oh, I see you. You're here. Congrats. Yay. Awesome. All right, so we're gonna move, and then we're gonna do the second winner. Ooh. That was close. All right, Nessa. All right, awesome. I had to double check that I was sharing screen for a second. I thought you all were like, she's just making names up. All right, yay! Congrats! Congrats, y'all. So, Frank has taken down the names, and
I think you made him up.
What's that?
I think you made him up.
Sophie's like, Sophie won.
I
so
won.
Sophie's the winner.
I won 4 different things. You were talking. What were you talking about? The raffle prizes and yesterday, Frank, and Rydia's like, I'm gonna put myself in there 10 times. I'm like, I want to be in that too. Can we participate? Congrats, y'all. So Frank is going to follow up with hang on, I just want to double check. Is Nessa here? Is Nessa not here? Oh no, Nessa's not here. Okay, never mind. I think we have to do that again, right?
Yeah, so the winner has to be in the room.
Yeah. Oh no.
They're in the room.
Are they in the room?
They are?
In their room.
In their own personal room?
They're in a room.
Yeah. Wow, that doesn't.
All right, we're gonna. I didn't even double check. I was like, you won. Morianda? Are you here?
No.
Oh, I don't think they're here either.
Nope.
Oh man.
Let's have my name on the list.
Yeah,
let's have my list.
You want
my
Sophie
name.
to win.
I'm here.
You want Sophie to win.
You know, I don't know if this person's here either. No, I don't think they're here. Janisha's not here, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, she was.
No.
She did play the scavenger hunt, but
yeah, competition's getting.
And then
Melody, yay! Thank you for being here.
She's faster than ours.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Oh, that was like the tension, the drama.
I was like, spoiler alert.
So we will be reaching out to you via the email that you used to register for the webinar, following up with some information that we need to get from you in order to get those prizes to you. So keep an eye out on your email. All right.
Yeah. So I'll be in contact with you soon. Just so for the winners, we are going to be sending out your gift cards after all the webinars are over. So it's at the end of August is when we'll be sending out the gift cards. But we will be in contact with you.
2023 at the earliest.
So 2026, you will be receiving a gift card. I will be walking them to your houses, and it's gonna take.
Frank's already walking right now. You're like, I'm
yeah,
outside.
started walking. Like I'm stretching right now, putting Tiger Balm on. I'm like,
Ready?
I'm gonna need it.
And like,
All right, y'all. So
I hope they're not from like Abno College or Yuba or San Francisco, because that'd be a long walk, Frank.
yeah, anything past 2 blocks is a long walk for me. So I don't know. All right, y'all. So we have upcoming webinars that we have on July 25th. We have our second session of our STEM webinar. Then on July 27th we have the Queer, Transgender, Black, Indigenous, People of Color webinar, and on the the 29th. Is this correct? Something we did change it to the 29th, or no? We changed it to August.
August.
So August 20th. Yeah, so August 26th?
Yeah, Friday, August 26th.
Okay, so August 26th, so not July 29th, is Men of Color, so MOC. And August 3rd,
you won't be here.
August 3rd, we have the Black Session 1. Next slide, please.
You know how women do, we just don't, we're not there.
August is the second session for Black Transfer Experience. August 8th is the first generation transfer experience. August 10th, formerly incarcerated system impacted transfer experience. August 12th, unhoused transfer experience. And this is the first year that we're doing unhoused. With disability, August 15th. Undocumented, August 17th. And we have one more slide of upcoming webinars. August 19th, we have non-traditional. August 20th, Chicanx Latinx. August 22nd, veterans. August 23rd, Southeast Asian transfer experience. August 24th, Native American Pacific Islander transfer experience. And August 25th is a parenting transfer experience session 2. Okay, cool. And I think that's it. I think the last slide is actually just to keep in touch with us. But I also want to open it up to our staff for any last comments you provide.
I guess I'll say hello because I didn't even say hello and introduce myself earlier.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Unfortunately, I was taking care of something for our office, but on behalf of the center, on behalf of our director, I want to say welcome and goodbye at the same time. My name is Santiago Bernal. I'm the assistant director for the center. I oversee both the scholars program and the peer advising program. And I get to work with this wonderful team of people who brought this to you today. I want to say thank you to the whole team for just all the effort and all the resources and just all the love that they put into this webinar. It was definitely something you can feel, you know, and you know, it's I'm living with that feeling as well. So it's going to carry me through the weekend, and you know, I couldn't be any happier than to be here amongst you. And I look forward to being with you throughout your journey. And you know, just another resource that you have here on our campus. We're that bridge between the community college and the university. We, of course, want you to come to UCLA, but if UCLA is not where you feel you're going to be the best version of yourself, we will support you to be anywhere you want to transfer to, and you should know that you can transfer anywhere. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you again to the team who put this together. Just know that it is a lot of different pieces moving and a lot of effort. So I know the work that you all put in, and again, I'm just so full of gratitude. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Santi. Anybody else? wants to say any last words? Sophie?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, I just want to say thank y'all for being so engaged, and present. And I felt like the participation was really wonderful, and it was just nice to see y'all establish and build a sense of community. And it was an honor to share space with y'all. And yeah, I think also congrats to the planning committee. Did a great job. I feel like it's really hard to not feel like what am I trying to say? It's really hard for me to be in these webinars and remember that I'm part of the full-time staff, because I often feel like I'm part of the audience, experiencing everything alongside them. So I feel like this webinar definitely made me feel like that. And y'all are awesome, and you did a great job. And yeah, have a good weekend, y'all. Have a restful weekend. I have to head out, but thank y'all for letting me share space.
Sophie. Anybody else? Chelly, Beto, Perla, Gloria, Iridia?
I can say, oh, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to say something really quick, echoing what Sophie just said. Thank you so much to everyone who was participating and was so engaging. This was honestly so awesome. I loved just the engagement and the energy that you all brought. And thank you so much for sticking to the end. I know we have like a bunch of students with us right now, so thank you so much for sticking with us. And also just thank you to the planning committee and the full-time staff that came out to support us. And thank you so much to Frank, who is such a wonderful leader. This was my first time working with him, and he was just amazing and has so much attention to like the smallest details, which is, it's just, he has so much passion for all of this. And I'm still learning, and I feel like I was able to learn a lot from him. So thank you so much, Frank, and thank you again to the planning committee, and have a great day.
Thank you. Chelly?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all the students and everyone that joined us today. Thank you to all the panelists and speakers. Today was really great. Thank you to the planning committee, and hope to see you all during our academic year, different programmings and workshops, and maybe you're able to join us for some of the other webinars that are coming up.
Thank you, Chelly. Anybody else? Beto, Perla, Gloria?
I didn't win nothing today.
Oh, now you won a lot. Didn't you win a lot last time at Foster Youth, the game night?
I don't remember if I did, but I did win something then.
Yeah. Yeah. Daniela? If not, then I just want to say, thank you for everyone for being here. This was a pretty long webinar, but we had a lot of good presenters, speakers, panelists. Like everyone mentioned, like we do appreciate being engaged, and welcome to the CCP family. Like I know a lot of us are sharing like emails. Like please like take down that information, or take down the information of the folks that shared their emails. And please don't be afraid to like contact us, because we are here to support. So thank you once again. Thank you for the planning committee. We started meeting really early. We actually started meeting last quarter, so we started super early. So I appreciate everyone that was part of the planning committee and that came in, and worked on putting this webinar together, because one can do it. We do it as a team. This is a team effort. So thank you all very much. And thank you to the full-time that are here supporting, and the peer advisors that are supporting. I greatly appreciate you, and I greatly appreciate the students that are here even towards the end. It shows a lot. So thank you very much.
Yay, power to the foster youth, farmer foster youth, transfer students.
Yeah. So this is it, y'all. We did it.